So my name's Ashira Ramadan. I'm Palestinian. I work as a social media expert with BBC Media Action, which is an independent charitable organization in the BBC. I want to tell you why I decided to become a journalist or eventually a social media expert. When I was 16 years old, my mom decided to drag me to a protest in Jerusalem. It was a singing protest. She thought it would be interesting. Halfway through the protest, the Israeli security came and tried to disperse the protest. I was taken on the corner at some point, and I just woke up with around 10 soldiers beating me with sticks, trying to break my bones, and around 10 cameras flashing in my face and video cameras, and I was just in and out of consciousness while these cameras were on top of me. And after the whole ordeal was over, I started thinking about media and journalism and reflecting on that experience. I wanted to become a different kind of journalist. Yes, it's important to be passionate about the story, but it's also important to be compassionate in telling it. And that's why I decided to work in journalism and ended up coming here, working a little bit with the BBC, and then going back to Palestine and working with Palestine TV, and that's how I ended up back in BBC Media Action. For those of you who were here yesterday, many of you would have seen the session on women in media in the UK, and now I'm going to try and explore the similarities and challenges faced in Palestinian media. Our work, BBC Media Action's work in Palestine, is geared towards enhancing Palestine TV. Second. There we go. Where am I supposed to be clicking? Okay. Is geared towards enhancing Palestine TV. Palestine TV happens to be the oldest and the biggest government-run station in Palestine. And what we try to do is support them through capacity building, supplying equipment, and production. We're currently producing two programs, which are Hurr al-Kalam, which means free speech, and Voices from Palestine. And these two projects are debate shows, and they give the Palestinians this rare opportunity to sit facing politicians and decision makers and to hold them accountable, whether it be in social issues or political issues. As for the social media team, which I work with, we're in charge of introducing social media to Palestine TV. Prior to our work with Palestine TV, they didn't have any presence on any official presence on social media. There was about 20 pages run by random people who decided to just open pages for Palestine TV and represent the TV. So when we started working with them, we found an official page. We created an official page with them. And we're trying to integrate social media also in their production, as well as creating social media guidelines for the entire station, which is one of the most important things because a lot of it is very disorganized the way they deal with social media. One of our objectives as a social media team is also to engage more women. The page when we started that was semi-official had about 20% women, and the administrators, of course, were 4 men. So you can just imagine that they were only dealing with issues interesting to men. I think that a lot of them weren't aware of the fact that they were doing it, but eventually it was a lot of sports. The way they were interacting and writing was basically targeting men, and the conversation was from men to men. Now, after starting to work with them, we've got a little bit of an increase. We've got 40% women engaging on the page. That's because they became aware of the fact that they're not engaging with women. And also because the topics that our programs cover include topics that are interesting to women: unemployment, the health sector in Palestine, marriage, and it's starting the debate and talking to women the way we talk to each other, basically. We're also trying to change the way Palestine TV deals with women altogether. The TV station has a lot of shows for women, but they are usually funded by international or Palestinian organizations. And you've got a women panel, you've got the women audience, and they talk about issues that are important to women specifically. So what we're trying to do is engage women in all aspects of our production. We've got, we're training women, it's gonna happen. Okay. We're training women engineers as part of our work with Palestine TV. We've got a research team that interviews women, centers and office and organizations to know what topics are interesting to women. We're also, we have in our programs, there's always women present as experts and politicians. We try to engage them. In our reports, we've also got women in almost most of our reports that go on the show, the audience, of course, as well. You've got women. So we're trying to get them engaged in all aspects and trying to change the environment, the way they think of production, not only in our 2 shows that we produce with them, but also just the general way that they deal with engaging women. Just to give you some more information about how widespread, how widespread social media is in Palestine. I'm going to give you some numbers, but one thing to keep in mind when you're dealing with numbers in Palestine, Palestinians are scattered around the world, inside and outside Palestine. So when it comes to dealing with computerized analytical tools to find out how many Palestinians are using this site or this site, the computers basically take your IP address. So if you're a Palestinian living in Tel Aviv or Nazareth, you're considered as an Israeli. And when it comes to the numbers, you're categorized as there. If you're a Palestinian refugee living in Lebanon, then automatically you're categorized as a Lebanese. So it makes numbers difficult. So what we did with BBC Media Action is we conducted a quantitative research only in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank and parts of East Jerusalem. But we got focus groups to try and find out to break down the numbers of how many women and men are using social media. And one of the great things about these numbers, I don't know if you can see them clearly. You've got 73% of men use Facebook, 69% of women use it. Twitter is growing in Palestine. We've got widespread access to internet, which helps in this. So as you can see, the women there's not that much of a big gap between women and men. And the reason for that is because of the freedom that social media gives us. As women living in that region, social media gives you the ability to overcome social, cultural, and traditional restraints. You can be whoever you want. You can say whatever you want. You're not going to be judged. Sometimes you do get judged, of course, of whatever you say, but it gives you this freedom to be able to communicate your thoughts. And one of the most important things it does is it helps you network. Helps you network with other women. I'm going to jump right to a movie, a film that we did. It's not part of our production in BBC Media Action. I specifically did this for this presentation just to give you an idea of how Palestinian women are using social media today.
أنا اسمي لما نزيه، بشتغل في دائرة العلاقات العامة والإعلام للحرس الرئاسي. إحنا هلا مسؤولين على صفحة الفيسبوك للحرس. نحن هلا فتحنا صفحة الفيسبوك لأنه حسينا بضرورة مشاركة الناس بطريقة مباشرة أكثر، والفيسبوك طبعا وتويتر صار في لهم انجذاب أو استعمال أكثر بين الشعب الفلسطيني، فكانت هي بالفعل الطريقة كانت السهلة والأسرع للوصول إلى الناس من غير أي حواجز أو أي عوائق. وكان في لها هدفين، خليني أقول مباشرين. الهدف الأول علشان نوصل كل الحقائق كما هي على صفحة الفيسبوك. ثاني إشي كمان علشان يصير التفاعل أكثر مع العالم إن كان داخل فلسطين أو خارجها. أنا كمرأة فلسطينية يمكن شوي صعبت بالتأقلم في الجو العسكري وفي المجتمع الذكوري، لأنه يعني دائما العسكر هو برتبط فيها اكثر المجتمع الذكوري مع الاسف. فعشان هيك وجود مرأة لازم يكون شيء طبيعي، لازم يكون عامل جدا، يعني يصير العالم متأقلمة على الوضع، وهذا هو الطبيعي اللي يصير، لانه احنا كمان لما نيجي نطالب في المساواة احنا فعليا بنطالب بالمساواة على كافة الاصعدة. وانا كثير بضحض اي فكرة ممكن اي حدا يحكي فيها انه المرأة ما بتقدر تكون موجودة في جو ذكوري او مع عساكر او مع جيش، لانه هذا الحكي عكس الواقع. اي حدا بيقدر يكون موجود اذا كان قادر يثبت حاله، اذا هو حابب يثبت حاله رح يقدر.
My name is Manal Tamimi from Nabi Saleh village. We are gathering today for making our weekly protest against settlement and confiscated lands. We began our protest 3 years ago after the settlers took over a spring, and since that time we began our weekly protest. We try to take advantage of social media like Facebook and Twitter. That's why we every Friday we are tweeting and putting on Facebook what's happening here. We want to spread our idea about non-violent resistance in Palestine and why we are doing this in a way to document the violation against Palestinians from the Israeli side.
I'm Maryam Barghouti. I am a Palestinian and I am active in the popular resistance actions. I am active through social media. Social media is our tool because it helps personalize what's happening here, and it helps send what's happening here in a more effective way to let the people understand through our own eyes what is happening. And it is effective because the mainstream media is being silent. So we are taking reporting into our own hands, and we are all becoming civilian journalists. We are all using social media to let the world know what is happening here.
أنا فاطمة سعادة المعروف باسم مسامر. عندي مطبخ ومطعم باسم مطبخ ومطعم مسامر. بروج لشغلي عن طريق الفيسبوك. عملت صفحة وأي طبخة بطبخها أو أي معجنات أو أي طلبية بصورها بنزلها على الفيسبوك، وبنصح جميع الستات اللي عندهم مشاريع صغيرة إنهم يعملوا دعاية عن طريق الفيسبوك. من حد ما عملت صفحة الفيسبوك أنا صار عندي من خلال سنة أو سنتين حوالي من 100 ل 150 زبون جديد. والله كانت فكرة يعني إني أنا يعني مش دارس يعني، بس بحب التكنولوجيا، بحب أتعلم، بعرف على الكمبيوتر. فصدفة هيك حكيت لها، عندي اجت بنت اختي حكيت لها بدي يا خالتي اعمل هيك بدي اعمل دعايه، فبتحكي لي حاضر. عملت لي الصفحه وعلمتني كيف اني انا اعمل صفحه لحالي وكيف اني انزل كل شيء عليها، وكانت فكره حلوه يعني وجديده، والحمد لله استفدت من وراها يعني.